Hello everyone and welcome to another beer review here from the Czech Republic. Thank you very much for watching. This evening I'm going to have a Svetli Ležák, a pale lager called Mustang. Mustang is from the Ostravar brewery, which is from the city of Ostravar. The name very much related to the city, so it is the kind of main brewery from the city of Ostrava, which belongs to the Pivovari Staropramen. So they are part of the Staropramen group, which in turn is part of the international group of breweries under the Coats and Moors umbrella. Mustang is an 11 degrees Svetli Ležák, 11 degrees pale lager with a 4.9% alcohol content. So I'm really looking forward to trying this today. And well, I've had this before, but it was a while ago when it came out. In a can. It hasn't been around in a can for too long. I think it only came out last year, during the summer, when Ostrava made this available in cans. So I'm not entirely sure. Again, what this beer is all about, and I would like to give this another go this evening, and share my opinions and my thoughts with you. Now, given that this is from the Pivovari Staropramen group, and therefore an international kind of part of an international group of industrial breweries, I'm quite curious today about what this means for this beer, particularly when we look at Staropramen and the breweries that are under their umbrella. Because with Staropramen, I know a lot of people, particularly outside the Czech Republic, but even within the Czech Republic, they really like Staropramen beers. Potentially because there's not much other choice available of Czech beers, and because Staropramen, they do export within the continent, European continent, but also overseas. When I say overseas to the UK, I don't mean but there is a pond between us, a little pond or a little sea, but they do export to continental Europe, but then also to the UK and to Ireland. Whereas in the UK, I do believe they even have a brewery on site in Burton-on-Trent. But a lot of people, they like Staropramen beers because potentially they have been to the Czech Republic and they see it in their home country, and they affiliate when drinking the beer maybe with nice memories of the Czech Republic or whatever the case may be. But when it comes to my own personal taste, I have to admit that Staropramen beers are not particularly high up on my list of favorite beers. I do have them from time to time, and some of the beers are okay. The 10 degrees Smichov, for example, it can be quite refreshing on a really hot summer day, which is then what I would be looking for. But overall, Staropramen beers would not be my kind of go-to beers, and that's probably because I live in the Czech Republic, and therefore I have a wide range of Czech beers available to me. But then there is one brewery that, excuse me, that is also part of the Pivovari Staropramen group, which is the Pardubický Pivovar, and they used to make, or still make, well, used to make more likely, really great beers. I think particularly about the 12 degrees Sklepa, which is a little bit on the bitter side, and which is something that I really enjoyed. And a lot of people really enjoyed the Pardubický Porter. Unfortunately, now the brewery in Pardubice ceased to exist. At least they're not brewing there anymore. They moved some of the operation, or some of the making the beers or brewing the beers, to Ostrava, so to this brewery. Unfortunately, some of the beers were suspended, like the Pardubický Porter. At least that was the latest information that I've had. But it was beer from the Pardubický brewery that I really liked, even though they were part of the Pivovari Staropramen group. So I'm really curious about how this will fit in there. whether or not this will give me more the impression of an industrial beer, or will this be maybe closer to the Pardubitzky Pivovar type of beers that I personally really enjoyed. But let's not talk too much. I keep talking about different things that may not be relevant, so I'm sorry about that. Let's get straight to the beer. I'm using my Tübinger glass again this evening, still a little bit wet inside. Mustang 11 degrees pale lager, 4.9% alcohol. Let's give this a go and see how this compares to other beers from the Pivovari Staropramen group. Yeah, I mean, overall, it looks great. The kind of color that I really hope for in a Svetý Ležák, the kind of dark golden color, a nice foamy head on it as well. So overall, something that I just really, like from a kind of, point of view, from an attractiveness point of view. It looks inviting, it looks fresh. Not sure what the smell is. It seems to be a little bit of maltiness coming through. But I can't place that smell right now. But let's see and give this a go. Unfortunately, you can see the foam kind of disappearing already, but it may just be my bad pouring. I'm sorry. So let's give this a go. Na zdraví. Yeah, I mean, it's it's okay. It's okay. Um, it's drinkable, and when I say drinkable, sometimes people use drinkable. It's drinkable in a kind of not yet positive sense. I don't mean it that way. I think it really is drinkable. Um, to a point where I believe it kind of, from a refreshment point of view, it does what I want it to do. So that's always good. It goes down easy. There's no issues in terms of the balance of the beer. So, nothing where I would say, anything kind of stands out. But now I do mean that in a not yet positive way, because there really isn't anything where I would say, wow, that element has really stood out for me. So, you know, it is, I mean, like I said, it comes from an industrial brewery, and it is okay to drink, but it's not something that has just kind of blown my mind or overwhelmed me. However, having said that, when we look at industrial breweries, I'm not going in with the expectation that, I'm going to have something very special now that is just going to really blow my mind, and it's going to make me want to buy this beer again and again and again. That's not my expectation. And I think, I mean, I personally believe that we probably need to adjust these expectations sometimes, when we talk about industrial beers, because when we, review them or talk about them, I think it is important to remember where they come from, and, under which circumstances, or, which environment they were made in. So, knowing that this is an industrial beer, I think it is drinkable. I think it is okay. Let me give this another go maybe and see. Yeah, it's like I said, it is drinkable. It is okay, but there's no element here that would really stand out for me. I do feel a slight hop bitterness coming through, but it's very, very slight. Not something, that I would particularly notice. But again, it's a drinkable beer, and given that it comes from an industrial brewery, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Excuse me. But at the same time, it's probably not a beer that I would that I opt for, too often. Why? Because Mustang is also not a beer that is particularly, well, I don't like to call it cheap beer. Anyway, I don't want to like to say that. Um, but it's not a particularly, um, you know, it's not a price range where I believe this probably should be, given my experience with it right now. It is, in the price range is slightly higher than some other beers that I have had with a similar alcohol content, pale lagers. Um, it's really a little bit higher, than some of the beers that I really had, and that I really enjoyed, that were a little bit more crispy, that were a little bit more kind of out there, a little bit more exciting. Let's put it that way. This one is, high up on the price range of beers in the Czech Republic. At least, when you compare it to other industrial breweries, and I think that's important when I say it's high up. I mean, in the supermarkets, when you look at the section of industrial beers, it's not mid-range anymore, unfortunately. And for that reason, I really have to say I would have hoped it would give me a little bit more, and that's why it's probably why I wouldn't go back to it, too often. But at the same time, I'm really glad I tried, because it's also about giving different things a try, and see what they are like. And if it doesn't meet my taste, it doesn't meet my taste. It's absolutely fine. I know a lot of people who do like this Mustang, who do enjoy it, and who do drink it regularly. It's not my taste. It doesn't meet my taste. It probably hasn't met my expectations when it comes to an even industrial beers. But at the same time, like I said, it is drinkable. It is okay. Um, if you have had this before, if you going to have this in the future, please leave a comment and let me know what your thoughts were. I'll be really happy to hear, if you are sharing, similar opinion than I do, or if you would have a completely different opinion. Subscribe to my channel for more Czech beer reviews. There will be more coming up this week, so hopefully I will see you in the next videos as well. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice evening. Bye bye.